Gran is a weak simp who is about to die until a blue-haired baddie uses godly powers to revive him. Now that their souls are linked, he finds out that she is an absolute freak, so he decides to repay her by giving her unlimited backshots while clapping anyone that tries to stop them.
This is business!
It all starts in a peaceful village where Gran is chopping logs with his friend. Just then, they see a battleship in the air, and after an explosion, something bright falls out of it. Without hesitation, Gran rushes to the forest with his Pokemon Vern to ensure the crash doesn't start a fire. While searching, he finds a blue-haired baddie lying unconscious near the shrine and rushes to check up on her. After she regains consciousness, Aaron sees a big crystal attached to her necklace and realizes she's the shiny object he saw falling from the ship. Since he's a virgin like you, all the blood starts leaving his brain, and he offers to help the girl any way he can in hopes of some sloppy toppy. The girl then introduces herself as Liria and explains that she was locked up for a long time till her friend Catalina tried to break her out, but they ran into trouble and she fell out of the battleship. She wants to find Catalina, but Gran suggests they return to the village for now before any monsters show up. Just then, 2 knights from the battleship show up and demand that he hand over the girl. Gran stands up to the bullies, so when one of them rushes him, he takes him out. The second guy uses a crossbow to catch him by surprise, but Gran deflects the arrow and slices him up as well. As he catches his breath, one of the knights uses a flare gun to call for backup, and everyone in the area is alerted. Aaron and Liria are running away when they find themselves surrounded on all sides, but Catalina finally appears and expertly deals with the Empire Knights with her ice magic, giving them a chance to escape. As they catch their breath, Catalina introduces herself as the former Lieutenant Knight of the Empire and thanks Gran and Vern for their help. She explains that the Empire had been keeping Liria captive for years for her special powers, so she risked her own life to free her. Gran says he won't be able to sleep until he makes sure they are safe, so he offers to tag along until they find their hidden airship. On the way, they see the Empire Knights bullying a father and her daughter, and Catalina gets furious because she is a knight herself. When the knights threaten to harm the little girl, she finally has enough and steps in, beating them all up using Gran's help. Soon after, they run into an ambush of crossbows, but Catalina manages to deflect all the arrows alone. Just then, the Empire's lapdog, Captain Pommern, appears and vows to teach them a lesson. Catalina then senses something and asks Gran to run, but before he can even react, a fire-breathing Hydra starts attacking them. The dragon chooses to target Gran out of everyone and starts hurling fireballs at him, which Gran barely dodges. He puts up a good fight, but despite Gran's efforts, he eventually dies at the dragon's hands, leaving Liria in shock. As Vern cries over his dead body, Captain Pommern blames Liria for Gran's death, so she vows to give her powers to Gran. Just then, Gran finds himself drowning, and Liria appears in an angelic form, extending her hand and asking him to use her powers. Soon after, Gran wakes up, but something about him sends shivers down Pommern's spine. He asks the dragon to attack Gran again, but Gran and Liria sync their powers to summon a diving dragon called Bahamut. Much to everyone's shock, the Hydra appears to be an insect in comparison to the Bahamut. But Pommern fails to read the room and instructs his dragon to attack. Despite taking Hydra's best shots, Bahamut seems to be unfazed and starts charging up a large spirit bomb in its claws. It then hurls the bomb towards Pommern and his men, and the attack is so strong that it nearly blows away the entire terrain. Scared for his life, Pommern orders his men to retreat to the ship and report to the Empire, allowing the others to take a sigh of relief. After they are gone, Liria absorbs the Bahamut into the crystal on her chest right before Gran collapses in her arms. He finds himself in a dream reading a letter from his dad, who went to buy milk and never returned. The letter talks about the Islands of Fire, dragons and astrals who have mysterious powers, and Gran is eager to explore these things. He tells Vern that he will become a skyfarer, but his daydreaming is cut short when his friend Aaron shows up and declares that such things are just fairy tales. However, Gran gets all serious, sternly stating that the island of Astral is real and his father is waiting for him there. He declares he will become a skyfarer like his dad and go to that island himself. But Aaron reminds him that he gets lost on his way home, so he'll definitely get lost in the sky. They start arguing among themselves until Aaron's father smacks them in the head and tells them they won't get any snacks today. He also advises Gran to take it slow, because he believes a day will come when Gran actually takes the wing. At present, Gran wakes up to find Liria by his side, and she immediately throws herself into his arms, relieved that he is alive and well. She then starts touching his abdomen to see if his wounds have healed. But no one has ever touched him with a 10-foot pole, so this causes him to fall over his bed. Hearing the noise, Vern and Catalina show up as well, and they are all happy to see him alive and well. When he asks what happened to the Empire Knights, Catalina assures him that they won't return anytime soon. Gran then asks if the villagers are okay, and she says everyone is fine except him, who is supposed to be dead. Vern believes he was merely healed by magic, but Catalina states that he was indeed dead, and Liria's powers brought him back. Gran asks for an explanation, so Catalina reveals that the Empire was researching the power of primal crystals for many years to expand its domain, and Liria was the key to their plan. However, they couldn't find a way to utilize her powers, so they locked her up in a room. Catalina wanted her to live a normal life, so she helped her escape from captivity. Liria's power comes from a primal crystal, which allows her to control beasts of the astral, and that's why she was able to summon Bahamut. Gran and Vern get excited thinking Liria is one of the legendary astrals, but Catalina breaks the news that all astrals went extinct a long time ago. Liria has no memories from before she was captured by the Empire, so she doesn't even know who she is or where she came from. She doesn't understand why she has these powers, but she admits that when Gran was hurt, she felt it in her gut that she could help him. She merged her life force with him, and that's how he was able to come back to life. However, they now share the same life force, which means they cannot be separated. If they go far apart, the force will weaken and Gran will die again. After dropping the bombshell on Gran, Catalina reveals she plans to leave the island soon, and he has to come with them. They both bow to apologize to him, but Gran says it was his own fault for being weak and thanks Liria for giving him another shot at life. He says he has no problem following her wherever she goes because he has always wanted to travel the world. His motivational words move both Liria and Catalina, and Vern declares that he will join them too. He then extends his hand to Liria and says that the endless skies are waiting for them, which makes her tear up. Vern then suggests they find a way to keep them from dying, and Catalina says they can find the answers on the astral island. That night, the whole village throws a party for their unexpected guests, where Catalina comes clean, blaming herself for the Empire's raid and apologizing for any trouble she has caused. The villagers welcome her with open arms, but she says she doesn't want to bring any more trouble, so she will leave tomorrow. Just then, Gran tells everyone that he will be leaving with them for Astral Island so he can find his dad. The villagers are worried for his safety, but Vern tells them he'll keep Gran safe. However, one of them starts teasing Vern for being a useless lizard, which makes everyone laugh. Just then, his childhood friend Aaron starts shouting, calling him reckless for going on such a dangerous journey. Catalina assures him she will protect Gran, but Aaron continues to create a scene until his father tells him to zip it. He says Gran has been waiting for the day to leave ever since he received a letter from his dad, and after the other villagers back him up, Aaron finally accepts it. He asks Gran if he will ever come back, and he promises that he will. Suddenly, the mood is lightened with Liria's tummy growls, and everyone dives into the feast. The next day, Gran gears up and packs his father's letter with him before meeting up with the girls in their airship. After saying his goodbyes to the villagers, Gran gets on board the airship, and even though they get off to a rocky start, Catalina manages to get a hold of it. Gran then looks back and realizes that the village, which has been his whole world until now, is quite small. This excites him even more for the things he is about to experience on this thrilling journey. After some time, the engine on the airship breaks, and the whole squad comes crashing down in a nearby valley. As they crawl out of it, a man named Rackom passes by and starts inspecting their ship. He notes that it's badly damaged and might never fly again before asking Catalina some technical questions about the airship. He quickly realizes that she's as clueless as she looks about the details and tells her to get some proper training before walking away. After he's gone, the squad spots a cargo ship nearby, so Catalina suggests they follow it because it must be heading to a nearby town. Soon after, they arrive at the port city of Breeze, and both Liria and Gran are thrilled to see so many people in one place. It also spots several airships flying around, and Catalina says this city is a hub for island-to-island travel. Skyfarers from across the world come here to buy supplies or sell their valuable findings, and they can even buy an airship if they have the money for it. But since they are broke, Catalina suggests they take a passenger ship after they get some essentials. While looking through the market, Catalina spots a cat sleeping in a shop and starts petting it. Liria reveals that Catalina really loves cute and fluffy animals, and she starts chasing around Vern to pet him as well. When Liria spots a journal with a cute cover, Catalina tells her to buy it and promises to teach her how to read and write. That evening, as she holds the journal close to her heart, the squad wanders into a large building with a prestigious statue in the front. As they wonder what this building is, an old man reveals that it used to be a temple back in the day, but now it's a hangout spot for merchants. The statue in front is of Taiamat, the guardian deity of the city, who was worshipped for sending breezes in from the heavens until people figured out the concept of weather. That night, while Gran and Viren watch the stars, Liria recounts the day to her journal. The next day, Catalina freaks out when she learns that all the passenger flights are already booked, and it will be a while before one becomes available. Just then, Gran hears a ship coming and rushes to the port to see it. While he is taking in the sheer scale of the ship, Rackom appears again and starts describing each and every element of the ship in detail, as if he's the one who made it. Gran asks if he is a skyfarer, and he says he used to, but those days are behind him. He then takes them to his garage, where he reveals he actually managed to somewhat repair the ship that they had crashed yesterday. He promises to make sure it flies again, and allows them to have it on the condition that they revoke Catalina's driving license. Just then, a guy named Drang and his shoddy Sturm show up at the garage and tell Liria that they have an extra ship that she can use. Rackom immediately warns her not to trust these idiots, so one Drang pulls out apples from his pocket, because he somehow knows Vern loves them. He then asks them about Catalina, but that blows his cover, because only someone from the Empire would know about her, especially since she is not here. After he starts acting like an idiot, Sturm pokes him with her sword and tells Gran to take the Shio and leave the island. When he refuses, they get serious and prepare to attack him, but Rackom creates a smoke shield using the broken airship, which allows them to escape. Drang and Sturm give chase, and when Gran realizes he can't outrun them with Liria by her side, he asks Vern to take Liria away while he holds off the pursuers. Drang hurls a fireball at Gran as a warning, but he slices through it using his sword and charges them head-on. Before he can reach them, someone makes debris from a nearby building to create more chaos, and Rackom appears from out of nowhere, leading them into a tunnel. Unbeknownst to them, a mysterious woman is watching them from the rooftop. Down in the tunnels, Rackom reveals that these paths were used during the war and asks Gran if he has an extra chromosome, because he was fighting someone way stronger. Gran says that was his only option, and although Rackom admires his guts, he tells him to place some value on his life. Back at the port, Catalina desperately searches for her squad, and they soon join her using the tunnel system. She questions where they went, so Gran takes them to a tavern, where he reveals they were chased by people from the Empire. He suggests they leave this place as soon as possible, but Catalina breaks the news that all the flights are pre-booked. As they go through their options, a cutie named Ciro shows up, and Catalina immediately realizes that she's a merchant. Liria asks why she looks so tiny, only to learn that she's a Harvin who always looks young despite being old. Catalina asks him if she can find them a travel ship, but she says none are available. However, there is one used ship up for sale, but Catalina says they cannot afford it, and they don't even have a pilot. Just then, some guys at the next table recommend that they talk to Rackom, because he is an excellent pilot. However, he spends all his time and money repairing a shipwreck, hoping to get it airborne once again. Later, Gran suggests they ask Rackom to be their pilot, but Catalina is not too sure because she doesn't know him well enough. Regardless, she agrees to tag along with them, and they soon find the huge ship Rackom has been trying to fix for ages. Unlike what the guy said, the ship appears to be in very good condition, and Gran is excited because they might really be able to fly this thing. Just then, Catalina senses the Empire forces marching towards them and tells everyone to hide quickly in the ruins. The platoon is led by another Harvin named Furias, who proudly takes his chair and tells his men to ravage the entire city. One of the knights calmly suggests they take a more passive approach, but he gets upset and ends him on the spot. Furias then senses someone hiding in the ruins and tells his mage to blow it up, but Gran and the others manage to step out just at the right time. As they come face to face with Furias, he tells his men to capture them and makes fun of them for thinking that the trashy ship could ever fly. Just then, Rackom uses his sniper to cause chaos, declaring that he won't let anyone play with fire near his beloved Grand Cipher. Before this, Rackom had a bad dream about his ship crashing due to strong winds, and when he woke up, he saw the commotion outside. In the meantime, Furias told Catalina that he was responsible for the fact that they couldn't find a passenger's airship because he wanted to locate them up on this island. He also told them he got the green light to blow this whole island up and laughed hysterically as he told them it's too late to save anyone. He then got all serious and told his men to capture them, and that's when Rackom shot Furias' chair leg to make him fall. At present, several bullets are shot at their feet, and amid the chaos, Gran opens a trapdoor to the underground tunnels, allowing everyone to get away safely. Once inside, they see a light ahead, and while Catalina is on guard, Gran assures her that it's fine. Seconds later, Rackom appears with a lantern, and Gran says he realized it was him because he shot near the trapdoor to help them escape. Rackom says he was merely protecting his ship, and they just happened to be at the right place at the right time. He then tells them that the passage leads to his safe house, and they are welcome to stay with him until their wanted level stars go down. Once there, he admits he lost his temper and started firing at the Empire general before asking them why they are even here in the first place. Gran says they were looking for him specifically because they need a pilot who can get them off this island. Rackom refuses to help them, saying he won't fly any other ship except his own. He then introduces them to Gran Cipher, a ship he has been obsessed with since he was in diapers. When he was young, it was his dream to fix her up and get her to fly once more, so he collected parts for years and worked on her constantly, even risking his own life in the process. Eventually, he managed to finish the repairs, but when he tried to fly her, she gave up on him. Ever since that day, she's been sitting there idle. Gran asks him why he's stopped trying now, and he says it's because he doesn't even know what's wrong with the ship. He believes the ship doesn't want to accept him as her pilot, and he refuses to board another ship, so they're in a toxic relationship like your parents. Even then, he refuses to give up on her, vowing to make her fly even if it takes him decades. He even offers to teach Gran a thing or two, and Gran appreciates the gesture. Catalina then notices that the Empire Knights have left, but since they plan to destroy the whole city, she wants to warn the people before it's too late. They thank Rackom for the help before leaving, but he decides to go with them, knowing that he can't rest as long as innocent people are in danger. Meanwhile, Furias is furious at his soldiers for being more useless than Sakura. So before he leaves this place for good, he decides to turn it into a large campfire. One of the knights asks what they will do about Liria, and he tells him to burn her along with the rest of them. Just then, a strong wind starts to blow, and when Vern asks, Catalina says she's heard rumors of a weapon strong enough to decimate an entire island. Even Gran and Liria sense that something big is about to happen. But before they can reach the city, they run into Drang and Sturm once again. Catalina asks them if they've been sent by the Empire to retrieve Liria, but they refuse to answer. Catalina is ready to fight them, but Drang suggests they put their differences aside and offers Vern an apple as a token of friendship, which Vern rejects because he doesn't trust him. He then asks them to take an airship and leave this place, but Catalina turns him down. Sturm calmly says that they are running out of time, so Drang decides to force the squad on his ship. When he pulls out his weapons, Rackom charges him down with his rifle, and is soon followed by Gran. In the meantime, Sturm charges down Catalina and starts clashing swords with her. Soon after, Drang notices lightning in the clouds and realizes he can't play around anymore. Just then, a tornado starts approaching them, so Sturm rejoins him and suggests they skedaddle before it's too late. Catalina asks if they have anything to do with what the Empire is doing, but he refuses to answer again. He then gives them one last chance to join him, but Catalina refuses unless he comes clean. Not wanting to share it, Drang wishes them lucky and heads off, and Catalina finds it weird how he just left without trying to kidnap Liria. She believes that although Drang and Sturm are part of the royal army, they must not be under General Furias' command. She then turns to Liria to escape what she felt earlier, and she suspects that the general is somehow controlling the weather. As things get worse in the city, all the civilians gather inside the temple and start praying for their safety. The hero squad also joins them and sees several wounded civilians, much to their horror. Just then, the temple starts shaking, and they rush to the balcony to see several tornadoes coming in their direction. Gran quickly grabs Liria and gets behind cover, and the tornado clips past the temple, blowing away the front. Rackom suspects the building won't hold, and they must get people out, and there is only one ship at the docks, which is big enough to get the women and children out. However, since the pilot was injured earlier, no one can fly it. Just then, a helpless father begs Rackom to pilot the ship and save his family, and Rackom agrees to take the wheel. As he heads to the ship, the thought of Gran Cipher stops him in his tracks, but he snaps himself back and rejoins the others. Once they reach the port, they see General Furias set the ship ablaze with cannons, before explaining that the goddess Taiamat is real, and she's furious with the people because they have forgotten about her. When Rackom returns with the bad news, Liria asks him to bring her closer to Taiamat using a smaller ship so she can use her powers to control her. Even though Rackom is skeptical of her abilities, they have no other choice, so he agrees to take her closer to the wind goddess. He then takes the whole squad to his Gran Cipher, and even though she never flew for him before, he believes it will work this time. Against all odds, Rackom actually manages to make her fly, and now they're one step closer to saving the city. After passing through the dark clouds, they see a giant mountain of ice in their path, and Rackom uses his superior piloting skills to easily go around it. Soon after, they come across several floating islands, and in the middle is a giant cloud where Taiamat resides in a trance state. As they get closer, both Gran and Liria feel her awakening and warn Rackom, which only excites him further. Meanwhile, the city is getting struck by continuous lightning. While Furias watches from a distance in his ship, he then asks about Taiamat, and one of the knights tells him that although her level of aggression is way higher than they expected, they can still manipulate her. This gets Furias excited, and he tells his men to record everything that happened here. Meanwhile, Gran's cipher crashes into a few small rocks, but Rackom is confident that small pebbles cannot take the ship down. Just then, Gran notices that Taiamat is taking defensive measures against her, and soon after, a number of homing missiles are sent towards their ship. Rackom dodges most, but some manage to land, which worries the others. Rackom, however, is confident and asks Gran if he knows how to take a ship to its maximum speed. Gran responds that it's done by turning the power all the way up, but Rackom reveals there's one other way. He then takes the ship as high up as possible and turns the engines off, letting gravity do the work for him. Using that trick, they get away from the homing missiles, only to spot a giant Taiamat cuddled up with freaky dragons attached to her body. She then awakens majestically, and her aura is so high that it sends shivers down their spine. Gran quickly instructs Liria to use her powers, so she taps into the crystal and telepathically asks Taiamat not to destroy the island. Taiamat doesn't listen, and instead starts attacking them, but Liria is confused as to why she's not listening. She rushes to Gran and asks him to do her a favor, so Gran tells Rackom to fly them directly on top of Taiamat. She continues to attack them, but Rackom expertly dodges and flies up until the ship is on top. Liria then reveals that the Empire has done something to make Taiamat suffer, and she is going to use the power of Bahamut to help her. She then transfers that power to Gran, who immediately takes a leap and uses the floating islands to parkour near her. Taiamat senses him and tries to take him up, and despite her destructive attacks hitting him, he powers through and strikes the primal crystal on her chest. The destruction of the crystal ends the corruption in Taiamat's mind, so when she sees Gran free falling to his death, she quickly uses her powers to rescue him. She then brings Gran to the ship in her palms, and while the others are relieved that he is safe, Rackom is focused on the fact that everyone forgot about their goddess, who had been blessing them with winds for centuries. At that moment, he vows to return to the city and let everyone know that she's still here, so no one forgets about her. Just then, they see a glow on top of Liria that soon turns into an object, and Liria states it's a gift from the goddess. Afterward, they return to the city, and Liria thanks Rackom because it would not have been possible without his contribution. She then addresses the people, telling them that Taiamat has been released from her suffering and will now bless them with gentle breezes, like she once used to. Rackom adds that it's their own fault, too, for forgetting about her, and asks them not to repeat this mistake. Later that day, while Liria and Vern head to the tavern, Gran gets himself taped up, but Catalina sees him struggling and offers to heal him. She tells him that he is too reckless with the way he fights, especially when there is no respawn button in real life. She asks him why he doesn't value his own life, and Gran responds that he only did what felt right in the moment. She asks what he would have done if the goddess hadn't saved her, but Gran says he was hopeful he would be okay thanks to Liria's power. Catalina tells him that since he and Liria share one life force, that means she is his guardian too, so from now on, he must consult her before doing something so dangerous. After he apologizes for making her worry, they both join Liria and Vern for dinner, where Liria shows him the gift she got from Taiamat. As soon as he touches it, they both see a vision of a volcano, and while they're confused, Ciro shows up and reveals that they're holding a piece of the sky map. Catalina then reveals it's said to be the legacy of the Astrals, and one must collect all of them to pass through the grim basin that divides the Sitcoms. Liria tells Ciro about the red mountain she saw, and Ciro reveals it's located in the Vaults Duchy. That night, while Rackom is repairing the ship, Gran approaches him and asks if he would be their pilot on their journey. Rackom asks him where he needs to go, but Gran hesitates to answer, making Rackom think he lacks spirit. But when Gran says he wants to go to the Arstal Island, Rackom is shocked. Gran then pulls out the letter from his father and hands it to Rackom, telling him that even though people believe that place is a fantasy, he wants to see it with his own eyes. He wants to have all kinds of adventures and become a great skyfarer like his dad, and for that, he needs a good pilot. Respecting his ambition, Rackom agrees to be his pilot, and they prepare to fly out the very next day. Before leaving, Catalina asks Rackom if he is really sure about this, reminding him that their trip is dangerous. Rackom says the only reason he lived here for so long is because he could get the ship to fly, but now that it's airborne, he wants to take her around the world and experience it all. Catalina then thanks him for everything he's done, but before they leave, Zero comes running in and says she has a job for them. She reveals that a client wants them to find someone, but since they are being discreet, they will speak to them directly in the Vault's duchy. Since Liria saw the red mountain in the sky map, which is also in Vaults, Gran tells Rackom to fly them there. Once airborne, Rackom declares Gran the captain of this ship, and although he is hesitant at first, Vern tells him his father also became a captain at his age, and this helps him accept his role. Elsewhere, Drang and Sturm report to their master, apologizing for their failure to capture Catalina and the others. Their master sternly asks them if they planted the seeds, and Sturm reveals that she spread rumors all over the city. After some time, Gran and the others spot the red mountain they saw in the vision, which indicates that they have arrived in Vaults. Once they land, Rackom reveals they don't have the clearance to land, so the squad pushes Gran forward since he is their captain now. While he is signing the documents, the others take a closer look at the mountain and are mesmerized by how majestic it looks from here. Catalina explains that since the lava continuously flows from the mountain, the duchy has made use of it by building steel industries around the city. Just then, Zero shows up, and they are shocked, wondering how she got here before them. She jokingly says she is everywhere at once but refuses to elaborate further. Gran and Rackom join the girls, so Zero hands them a map and asks them to meet at the marked location for a job later. She also tells them to mind their manners because the locals get nervous around outsiders before leaving. Afterward, the squad steps into the city that looks straight out of Assassin's Creed Syndicate, but their excitement goes down the drain when they notice people giving them a cold welcome. That night, they head to a tavern where Zero introduces them to their client, who already knows they saved Port Breeze and wants them to do something similar for Vaults. The mood shifts as soon as he reveals that he works in intelligence and asks them to keep this information private. He then reveals that this mission is a search operation for a person who happens to be Archduke Zaka the Great. The squad acknowledges that a missing Archduke is a big deal, which is why the intelligence agency cannot operate publicly. However, people have started to notice his disappearance, and things will turn chaotic if Zaka isn't found in due time. He also reveals that Zaka has been in contact with the Empire, and if that news is true, it will make their job more difficult. As he begs them to take this mission, the squad admits that this job is way more complicated than she had imagined, but they still want to help the Archduke. They leave the decision to their captain, and Gran chooses to accept it. The following day, they split up into two groups to gather information from the locals, and the girls learn that Zaka is an extrovert who often shows up randomly to check up on the citizens. He also performs magic tricks for the young ones and even brings them flowers, which shows how kind and caring he is towards his people. Unbeknownst to them, a mysterious girl is listening to their conversation. On the other hand, the boys are in an armory where the weaponsmith is upset because the people are saying Zaka has sided with the Empire to create a weapon of mass destruction. Even though she doesn't believe in the rumors, she's noticed more Empire ships coming here lately, and things are becoming worse each day. Additionally, the Archduke has ordered the mass extraction of ores and liquid steel, which makes him bookcases. Since everyone is on guard because of the rumors, she advises them to be on their toes. Later, they meet up to discuss what they have found, and everyone is in unison that people love their Archduke. They also discuss how he was gathering raw ore and tools, and some people believe he's making a weapon to destroy the world. Some people have seen him get on and off the Empire ships, which makes Rackom wonder if there is some truth to the rumors. As they continue to discuss their next course of action, the girl from earlier follows them and listens to their conversation. The next day, the squad visits an abandoned factory where Zaka was last seen, and the girl follows them again using magic to make herself invisible. When Catalina mentions that someone is following them, Liria freaks out, and Rackom says he noticed it yesterday as well. They suspect it's a mage from the Empire, and when Liria voices out her concerns, Gran promises to protect her no matter what. Just then, they hear the girl screaming and rushed to see her getting diddled with by a bunch of goblins. Without hesitation, they fight off the goblins and rescue the girl, and Gran even offers her a hand. They ask her why she was following them, and she reveals she is also looking for the Archduke because he is her master. Heading to a nearby tavern, she introduces herself as Lo, and after some chit-chat, she reveals Zaka is her magic teacher. Catalina asks if she's talking about his party tricks, but Lo reveals he is actually a full-fledged mage who can use real magic. She says he was acting strange when the Empire men started visiting him, and then one day he just disappeared without a trace. While she was searching for him, she saw their group asking others about the Duke, so she started following them around. She also discusses the rumors surrounding Zaka, but she is certain those are false, as there is no way a kind man like him would hurt others. Seeing how worried she is, they promise to find the man, but she says she won't sit idle and forces herself into their group. Following that, they show Lo the places they're supposed to search, and she confirms he visited these areas often. She says she's searched all of these places thoroughly except the stone quarry, because one needs an airship to get there. Thus, the squad decides to give her a ride on the Gran cipher. On board, Liria asks Lo what she will do if she sees Zaka again, and she says she will slap him in the face for leaving without telling her. Gran joins the conversation, saying how he often thinks about what he'll say to his dad once he meets him. He then assures her that they will find Zaka, and it makes her happy. Soon after, they reach the quarry that appears to be just a giant hole with nothing inside. They decide to give up, but Lo senses traces of magic inside and uses her wand to reveal a secret entrance that leads underground. Taking the stairs, they reach a giant research facility with big machines, and not long after, Liria senses something that she can't fully explain. Just then, Drang and Sturm show up, revealing that she's sensing a primal beast because Astrals used this place once. The squad immediately prepares for another fight, but Drang, being a total moron, reveals that they have come here only to support their employer. Just then, a heavily armored person steps up, and Catalina's face looks like she's seen a ghost. Turns out, the person in question is the Supreme Advisor, called the Blackcade Knight, making everyone wonder why someone so important is here. Lo asks her why she has kidnapped Zaka, only to learn that the Blackcade Knight is also looking for him. She reveals the Empire had funded a combined research project with Zaka, but he disappeared with the result. The project was his own idea to use the power of primal crystals and incorporate them into machines, and that's why the Empire is targeting Liria and the Blackcade Knight's doll. As soon as she leaves, the hero squad hears an explosion in the background, and a mechanized monster steps out of the smoke. Lo quickly realizes that the machine is running on Zaka's magic, and tries to bring him back to his senses, but it starts attacking. Gran blocks its punch and holds the mech in place, while Rackom uses his rifle to shoot it down. He then stops Lo from getting too close and tells everyone to run away, only for the mech to get back in its feet again. They somehow get away from the monster, and Lo breaks down because she was hoping her voice could reach Zaka through the mech. Liria reveals that her voice did actually get through while they were fighting, so she asks her not to give up and keep trying. After she cheers up, Rackom suggests they locate an exit, but Catalina wants to search the place for any signs of the Archduke. Just then, Liria hears a voice calling to her, and they decide to follow it. It leads them to a stairway that goes down deep, making them wonder what it was used for. On the way, Liria asks Lo to tell them more about Zaka, and she says he's a clumsy idiot who sometimes forgets to eat because he is so invested in his research. He also forgets their tutoring sessions, and she often finds him covered in mechanical oil. Additionally, he always talks about how he wants to put smiles on people, and everything he does is to make others happy. Lo says he is a really kind person, so if he's really doing something harmful, she must stop him and use her own magic to make him smile. Soon after, they reach a long hallway that leads them to a big underground palace of sorts. There, they find a large armored figure, a primal beast called the Iron Giant, in a trance. Just then, Zaka makes an appearance and sternly tells them to leave, but Lo begs him to come home with her. When he doesn't recognize his own pupil, they figure he is under some mind control and try to awaken him, but he keeps yapping about reviving the Iron Giant. He also mentions that he's figured out the way to control the power of primal crystals, and it immediately reminds them of what the Blackcade Knight said. Gran quickly guards Liria, who asks the Archduke if he was the one who called her here. The old man confirms it and asks her to give up her power, but the Blackcade Knight, who has been watching from a distance, asks her doll to pour some juice into the Iron Giant. This causes the giant to awaken, so the hero squad prepares to fight it. When ordinary attacks fail to damage it, Liria lends Gran the power of Bahamut, but even that scrapes it just barely. The giant flings Gran away, forcing him to hang off a chain several feet into the air. As the giant slowly approaches the others, Lo uses her spells to slow it down, but all her efforts fail. However, when Liria places her hand on her staff, she lets out a really strong attack that makes the giant fall backwards. Realizing they can win by working together, Liria buffs her entire squad with the power of the Wind Goddess, and they quickly tip the scales in their favor. As a last resort, the Iron Giant tries to destroy the whole place, but Lo uses a powerful spell to end the battle once and for all. She then walks up to Zaka, all furious, and smacks him in the face, which finally brings him back to his senses. She then embraces him and tells him there are other ways to protect vaults, so he must not take this route. Seeing her break down makes Zaka realize that he's committed a terrible mistake, so he hugs her back and apologizes, promising to never leave her behind again. However, all of a sudden, Zaka freezes in one place, and debris starts falling from above. They quickly get him out and take him home, and it takes Lo into a flashback cave when her parents died, and she had to live on her own. While others her age had the liberty to play and have fun, she had to worry about surviving in this world where she had no one left. Then, one day, this scary-looking man approached her and produced flowers out of thin air to cheer her up. After she opened up to him, he showed her how to harness her magic and took care of her from that day onwards. She adds that Zaka is the closest thing to a father in her life, and this makes Liria tear up, because she has no memories of his parents or where she was born. The only family she has is Catalina, and she can't even imagine what she would do if something were to happen to her. Seeing her so sad, Lo pulls out a trick from her master's playbook and produces a flower out of thin air to cheer Liria up. Zaka told her to perform this trick whenever she sees a little one crying, but she cannot understand why he is so fixated on making them happy. Just then, Zaka wakes up, saying that a nation whose youth have lost their smiles has no future. When he started observing the young ones in this city, he realized that most of them were sad, so he had to take extensive measures to make them happy. Lo still doesn't understand why he was creating a weapon of destruction, so he explains that someone visited him recently and gave him something called the Source of Power. However, his memories are all a blur after that, which means he was not in control. He believes he was led astray by someone and ended up using the Iron Giant for his evil goals. However, Liria reveals that the giant knew he was a kind soul underneath, so when the debris fell on him, the giant used his own body to blockade the impact. After Liria's primal crystal absorbed its powers, its memories were transferred into Liria, so she knows the giant wanted to protect Zaka. She then shows him a piece of the skem map that the Iron Giant left her, and even though she wants to give it to Zaka, the man suggests she keep it for herself. Afterward, Lo thanks him for the help and asks what they will do next, and Gran says he's gonna find the Astral Islands where his father is waiting for him. When she asks if they have a lead, they look at each other's blank faces before touching the sky map, which shows them a blue island. Catalina and Rackom realize that the place can only be the August Isles, so they decide to go there next. The next day, Zaka comes to see them off, and soon after, Lo joins them with her luggage, revealing that she will be joining them too. She says she wants to travel the world and become an even stronger mage so she can make people smile, and Gran agrees to have her on board. Elsewhere, two adventurers, Mary and Carva, are raiding a dungeon to find treasures, but they keep activating all the traps and find themselves in a lot of trouble. Meanwhile, the hero squad is in a tavern with Ciero, who thanks them for giving her a ride to this island, as Catalina tells her they have to stop here to stock up on supplies before they went to August, Rackom, and Lo get into an argument. Quickly breaking their banter, Ciero offers them a discount on her shop as a token of gratitude for helping her. Everyone is excited to buy from her, but she asks them to wait 3 days while she gathers stuff for them. Since they have free time on their hands, she tells them about the ruins in a nearby forest, and she also has a request to search them. Rackom asks if she agreed to gather supplies for them so she could pin this job on their team, and she sheepishly admits. The squad agrees to take the job on, so she draws them a map marking the ruins. The following day, despite Gran's inability to follow directions, they somehow make it to the ruins. Catalina advises everyone to be careful, as the ruins have never been explored before. But when Rackom ignores her advice, Lo starts arguing with him once again. Liria excitedly steps up and tells everyone to follow her, but the tiles break beneath her feet, and she's now half buried in the floor. Before they can pull her out, each member starts falling one after the other until the floor breaks, and they find themselves free falling into a slide. It divides them into 2 teams, with Catalina, Vern, and Liria in one, and the remaining on the other. While they wonder how to get out of here, Catalina sees a bat monster coming her way and slices it up with her sword. She then notices Liria sticking her ear to the wall, and Liria reveals she knows where Gran might be. On the other side, Gran senses where Liria is as well because they both share a life force. Lo believes it's rather romantic that they get pulled towards each other, but Rackom starts teasing her again. Just as Gran points towards Liria's direction, a wave of water floods the cave, and Lo uses wind magic to protect them. After the flood is passed, she leads the way towards Liria. Meanwhile, Catalina and Liria run into a bunch of traps and almost fall to their deaths. Luckily, they come out unscathed and catch their breath in a room where Liria reveals she can feel Gran in all directions. Catalina suspects Gran might not be able to sense Liria, but Vern says it doesn't matter because that idiot couldn't find his home if he had Google Maps. Vern then tells them he's been by Gran's side ever since he was young, which is why he knows how hard he tried to become stronger, so he can meet his father. He also doesn't want to burden others, so he always does things on his own and often makes reckless decisions. Despite respecting Gran's ambition, Catalina believes it is nearly impossible for his father to have completed a round trip to the astral island, and the truth might break Gran. Meanwhile, Lo tries her best to light her path using light magic, but since she is not good at it, Rackom hands her a candle. Even though she's grown to accept him, Rackom continues to tease her by calling her a lousy brat, and this leads to another argument between them. Gran starts laughing at their banter and reveals that he once explored a cave with Vern, and when they got lost, they were arguing like this as well. Just then, they hear explosions above ground, and it's Mary and Carvas setting off more traps in the dungeon. Right outside the treasure room stands a giant golem that blocks their path, but Mary doesn't hesitate and throws a bomb in its face. This causes the golem to go berserker and attack Carva. But just at the last second, Gran appears and blocks its attack. He breaks his arm in the process, but Lo quickly follows up and heals him using magic. When the golem attacks again, Rackom uses his sniper to shoot it down, but realizes that it has self-healing. He tries to slice it open so Maria can throw one of her bombs inside the golem, but even that does not work. Gran tries his luck with the sword, but he's flung back, though he learns that the golem attacks anyone who tries to enter the treasure room. Using this info, he asks Lo to create a body of water above the golem, which is then turned into vapors thanks to Rackom's bullet. Gran then destroys its leg and tells Maria to throw a bomb in its mouth, but when she misses the target, Gran grabs the bomb and slam dunks into the golem's mouth like he's LeBron James. After the explosion, the golem turns into a pile of sand, and from the top falls Liria, who slides directly into Gran's arms. Catalina and Vern soon follow, and the whole gang is back in one place. They then head to the treasure room and find it filled to the brim with gold coins and jewelry. However, Gran's eye catches a fancy sword buried in gold, and when he pulls it out, the whole ruins disappear and the gold is turned into sand. That night, while Mary and Carva fret over their lost gold, Cyril reveals the client refused to pay because the ruin disappeared, so instead, she compensates them by letting them keep the sword and free supplies for their journey. Gran offers the sword to Mary and Carva, but they tell him to keep it because he saved their lives. Later, Liria dreams of a massive library where she spots a girl quietly reading. Suddenly, all of Liria's friends are executed by that same girl, and when Liria demands to know why, the girl turns to reveal that she is actually Liria herself. Just then, Gran wakes her up, and she immediately tears up, anxiously asking if everyone is okay. Gran tells her that she had a nightmare, so she looks in Fally, takes a sigh of relief. He assures her that everyone is fine, and they are all waiting for her on the deck, which puts a smile on her face. She soon joins the others as they close in on August, and the girls are thrilled to see an ocean for the first time. Catalina is on the deck, happy that Liria and Lo have become good friends because Liria has never had any friends of her age. She believes that being with friends not only helps people learn, but it also brings out a simple kind of happiness. Rackom jokingly says they both will become trouble soon, which makes Catalina laugh. Then, suddenly, Rackom asks everyone to hold tight before slashing into the water, and once they dock, Lo starts scolding him for not warning them sooner. She then looks around and notices that the place seems rather empty, even though it is a tourist spot, which they find strange. Just then, Liria senses a fainting aura of a primal beast and asks Gran if he feels it too. Gran instead smells something foul, and they follow the stench to find slime gathered at the shore. Just then, they notice smoke rising, and a boat sails past to the man inside shouting at them to leave the area immediately. However, he recognizes Rackom and takes off his mask, revealing himself as the old man Eugen. He asks Rackom what happened to the Grand Cipher, only to learn that Rackom managed to repair it and is currently using it for his travels. Eugen assumes Rackom is on a vacation with his family, with Catalina as his wife and the other three as their kids, but they quickly clear up the misunderstanding. Rackom then reveals he's just traveling with the crew, and that dumb-looking fool over there is the captain. Eugen then takes them to the town on his boat, and on the way, he explains that he's currently dealing with a crisis. August is at war with the Erst Empire because they have been polluting the sea with their experiments. They try to negotiate, but one thing led to another, and now they are at war. However, Eugen is hopeful they will win this war because they have Leviathan, the guardian of the sea, on their side. He asks them to pray to Leviathan because it will bring them good fortune. Soon after, he takes them to Miseria, a majestic city built on water. The city is full of lively people who can live their lives in peace because the brave soldiers are holding the front line. Later, he learns that one of the sailors was attacked by a monster near the city, and he reveals that more of them have started showing up recently. Lo quickly rushes to the man and uses magic to heal his wounds, and Eugen admits they could use someone skilled in combat because they don't have a proper army. Lo immediately leaves with Vern to heal the injured, and Catalina agrees to give the troops combat training. With Rackom leaving to tune up some ships, Liria and Gran ask Eugen if they can help too, so he asks them to go shopping for them. He hands them a note that lists all the supplies that they need, and they happily accept it. For the next few hours, they go from shop to shop, exploring the city and having lots of fun. On the food street, a shopkeeper mistakes them for a tourist couple and offers them free food, which Liria accepts because she is hungry. Later, Eugen and Rackom sit down for tea, and when Rackom grumbles about being overworked, Eugen reminds him of everything he's done for him in the past. Eugen then asks him why he made Gran the captain of his ship when, in the past, he was so obsessed with it. Rackom admits he's not cut out to be a captain, and Gran's ambition to see the end of the sky made him want to lend the boy a helping hand. Just then, Lo and Vern return, so Eugen decides to make them dinner. In passing, he reveals that Catalina is also helping him cook, which is a really bad idea according to her squad. Just then, they hear an explosion inside the kitchen, and it becomes a case-and-point situation. Meanwhile, Liria spots a jewelry shop with beautiful charms, and the shopkeeper tells her she made them using the shells and corals that wash up at the beach. She claims the guardian of the sea blesses those who wear these, and each color corresponds to a blessing. Liria picks a blue one for herself, and the woman explains that it represents a deep connection between the sea and the people of this city. Gran immediately buys it for Liria and puts it in her hair, which makes her face light up. The shopkeeper wishes him luck in scoring that chick, unaware that some mysterious men are keeping an eye on them. As they make their way back, it starts to rain heavily, so they take shelter where Liria talks about Port Breeze, which was the place where she went shopping for the very first time. She recalls that Catalina bought her a journal, and she still writes in it every single day about all the things that have happened ever since he met Gran. She adds that she has a lot to write in it today about seeing the ocean, meeting Eugen, having delicious fish, and most importantly, getting a lovely present from him. She tells Gran that this charm will strengthen their connection, and she will take good care of it. In that moment, Gran gets mesmerized by her beauty and is about to hold her hand, but the moment is ruined by the city bell going off. Just then, they spot a rainbow in the sky, and while looking at it, Gran realizes he has one more thing left to buy. He tells Liria to stay put, but as soon as he leaves, Liria is kidnapped by mysterious men. Gran senses that she is in danger and immediately rushes back, but she's already gone by the time he returns. He frantically looks around for her and finds her being taken away in a boat, and despite his best efforts, the kidnappers manage to get away with her. Just then, the Empire's battleships appear and start attacking the city. At the port, the kidnappers bring Liria to General Pommern, who tells his men to pack up as it's time to leave. When one of the residents starts complaining about the destruction the Empire has caused, Pommern starts blaming Liria, because they wouldn't have come here if it weren't for her. He then tells Liria that he will spare these people if she cooperates with them. But Liria does not wish to go with him. She says she wants to continue her journey with Gran and the others, but Pommern refuses to let her go. He says she is a mere tool left behind by the Astrals to destroy the world, much like the pistol in his hand. Liria argues she is a human and won't hurt anyone, which makes Pommern realize she must have lost her memories. He then waves a crystal in her face and asks her to remember the time when she was a test subject along with the others. He asks her to remember what she did to the others, and some images flash before Liria's eyes, making her cover her eyes in horror. Pommern manipulates her into thinking that it is not safe for the general public if she walks among them, and even if she stays with her friends, she will bring them pain and suffering. This reminds her of a nightmare she had when she first came to this city, and a look of horror appears on her face. Pommern then pulls out the charm from her hair and breaks it into bits, and while she collects the broken pieces, Gran approaches the port and starts taking down the Empires all by himself. Just then, he notices Liria on her knees with tears in her eyes, and following that, the Leviathan appears and breaks Pommern's ship in half. Using the chaos to his advantage, Gran passes through the knights and kicks Pommern into the water before checking up on Liria. The others join them as well, but they quickly realize that she is not herself right now. Before they can pull her out of the trance, the Leviathan sends a huge wave towards the city and floods it. Gran finds himself drowning alongside Liria, but a mage named Rosetta pulls them both out of the water. That night, the group realizes that Liria has gone into a trance, and all their efforts to wake her up have failed. Just then, Rosetta enters the room and informs that the dragon they saw earlier is the primal beast Leviathan. Since the Empire has polluted the ocean, it became angry and acted irrationally. Catalina asks if that has something to do with Liria's state, but Rosetta assures them that there is no connection. In reality, Liria has shut off her brain like y'all during maths class, and no magic or medicine will help her. There is a way to wake her up, but if they force her to awaken, things might become worse. While Lo is panicking, Rackom calmly says their only option is to talk to her, but their words may not reach her. However, Catalina realizes that since Gran's light force is connected to Liria, he might be able to reach her. Before they can act on this plan, Rackom grows suspicious of Rosetta's, since she's popped up all of a sudden, but Gran assures him she's friendly because she saved them from drowning, and even helped them escape in Port Breeze. After she leaves, a sailor informs Eugen that the sea is acting up again, so he and Rackom decide to check it out. Later, Gran and Catalina stay by Liria's side, and Gran tells her everything that happened. He overheard Pommern telling Liria that she will destroy everything again, which makes him question if Liria did something harmful in the past. Catalina's expression changes, and she agrees to tell him everything that happened before they met him. She reveals the Empire was conducting an experiment on Liria, and something called the Dark Essence, which had turned some wolves berserk. When Liria was brought before said wolves, they all strangely died, and she created a really strong being, which ended up decimating the entire island. After this, the Empire decided to keep her confined so she wouldn't lose control again. Catalina was tasked to watch over her, and back Ethan, she had a stoic look in her face. However, Catalina saw beneath her exterior and started teaching her different things about the world until she started showing more emotions. Eventually, she developed an interest in the outside world, and Catalina wished she could take Liria away and give her a normal life. That's when she took the action and met him on the island. Ever since that day, Liria has learned a lot from him, and Catalina admits she could have never taught her those things on her own. Every night before she goes to sleep, Liria tells her about the things she did with Gran and Lo that day, and Catalina is happy she made new friends. Hearing this, Gran gets upset that he couldn't protect Liria and apologizes to Catalina, but she argues that it's her fault since she's the one meant to be Liria's guardian. She thanks Gran for everything he has done for Liria, and asks him to get some rest while she keeps an eye on her. Gran then joins Vern on the balcony with a lot on his mind, so Vern asks him to speak up. Gran says he doesn't know what to say to Liria to wake her up, and he also doesn't understand what she was protecting, which led to her current condition. Vern tells him that no one besides Liria can answer these questions, so Gran should scare what she has been bottling up inside her mind. He reminds Gran that their lives are connected, and if he tells Liria what he truly feels, she will certainly want to come back. Gran makes up his mind and is about to return when he runs into Rosetta, who tells him that she can take him to a primal beast, which might help him awaken Liria. He discusses this plan with Rackom, and although he is skeptical at first, a little push from Eugen is all he needs to accept this as their only option. Just then, an angry Lo enters the room, complaining that they made a decision without her. She declares that Liria is her friend too, and she wants to help as well, which is why she will come with them. Later, they all meet up with Rosetta at the beach, and she tells them that their next destination is the lush jungle in Lumisy Island. As they fly towards the island, tensions run high as everyone is anxious for Liria, and Rackom makes it clear that he does not trust Rosetta. Soon after, they reach their destination, and Rosetta asks them to parkay near the giant tree in the middle. In the meantime, Liria is in a dream, roaming around in the same library while frantically searching for her friends. They all appear beside her, and Gran even extends his hand, but as soon as she touches them, they become ash and dust. Seeing them all die reminds her of what Pommern said, and she starts believing that she cannot be with her friends because she would end up hurting them. As she curls up, ice starts forming in the library. Meanwhile, the Rosetta leads the hero squad to a cave, and when Rackom complains about the terrain, she says it's the shortest route to the primal beast. As they follow her to the other side, the cave opens to a basin with a giant tree in the middle, which mesmerizes Gran. Rosetta then calls the primal beast Yggdrasil, and a beautiful red-haired girl appears in the tree. She slowly wakes up and flies down the tree before jumping into Rosetta's arms like they're besties. However, she immediately gets sad when she sees Liria, and Gran begs her to help them. Accepting their request, Yggdrasil creates a path towards a nearby ruin and asks them to follow. There, they lay Liria down, and Rosetta tells Gran that she will send him inside Liria's mind using Yggdrasil's help. His job is to find Liria and convince her to wake up, and it all depends on what she tells her. Before he leaves, Lo hands him the charm that he bought for Liria, saying she and Vern stayed up all night to fix it. With that, Gran enters Liria's mind and finds himself in a flooded library. Swimming through the ice crystals, he sees Liria sitting alone at the bottom and calls out her name. When she doesn't respond, he tells her he doesn't know what's in her heart, so she should talk to him about how she feels. She strangely tells him that all these books here are memories of her past, and she has locked them here because she doesn't have the courage to read them. However, she says she will bring misfortune to everyone around her, and teleports Gran to the island where her powers went wild. After showing him what happened, she blamed himself, but Gran blamed the Empire that forced her into it. Still, Liria says it's her power, and she alone is responsible. She says she has been thinking about what Pommern said, and she's realized she is the reason for every trouble they have faced so far. When Gran tries to step closer, she tells him to stay away or she might destroy him too, but tells her that all the towns they have visited so far have been saved from destruction thanks to her powers. Liria argues that Catalina used to be an outstanding royal knight employed by the Empire, but now she is an outcast, only because she chose to help her. Gran assures her that Catalina doesn't feel anything negative towards her, but Liria believes she doesn't say it only because she is a kind person. She then points out the fact that Gran literally died to save her, but Gran sees it differently, as she actually brought him back to life and gave her a chance to go on this journey. She argues he would have been freer if he had taken this journey without her, and having her by their side would only ruin their lives. She doesn't want to hurt their future, so she decides that she will end her journey here. As Gran starts floating upwards, she tells him she will give him all of her life force, and when he wakes up, she will already be a goner. Despite Gran's pleas not to end her life, she prepares herself for a heartfelt goodbye, but stops at the last moment when she sees the charm be bought for her. This allowed Gran to get closer to her, and he told her that everyone wants her to come back here because they miss him. He assures her she hasn't ruined anything, but rather, she is the glue that sticks them together. When he asks her to come back here so they can strengthen their bonds and have a bright future together, her eyes tear up, and she finally takes his hand. As soon as she does, the library disappears and Yggdrasil creates a tree beneath their feet, allowing them to watch the open sky and the beautiful rainbow. There, Gran promises that he will never leave her again and will be there to protect her if she needs him. With that, they hold hands and wake up in the real world, where Liria apologizes for making them worry. Catalina immediately throws her arms around Liria, relieved that she is okay. With that, Yggdrasil willingly lets Liria absorb her powers. But before they can celebrate this joyful occasion, they hear cannons going off in the distance. Just then, an Empire battleship flies above the island, and Pommern arrives with his knights, asking them to burn the entire forest down. Catalina and the others show up to stop him, and he immediately asks them to hand over Liria, because she is just a weapon. When Gran argues that she's just a girl, Pommern reminds them of the things she has done in the past, but Catalina speaks in her defense, saying Liria understands the consequences of her powers and uses them only for good. With no other choice, Pommern pulls out a magic crystal to lure out the monsters in the forest, and soon after, the hero squad is surrounded by both the monsters and the knights. As they charge in, Rosetta stops the initial attack, allowing the others to launch a counterattack. Working together, they defeat everyone, and Gran even destroys the crystal that Pommern uses. Begging for mercy at first, Pommern quickly pulls out his gun, but he is shocked when Liria summons the wind goddess Taiamat so casually. Liria declares she will not be afraid anymore because she has friends, before using Tiamat's powers to fling everyone away. After the battle ends, they realize that Rosetta has disappeared, but Gran is hopeful they will see her again. Liria then reveals that he could hear Leviathan talking to her, and even though he wanted to project the sea and the people, the pollution corrupted his mind and he ended up attacking them by accident. Liria wants to help him, so the squad decides to head back to August. As they fly away, Rosetta sees them from below, noting that Gran is just like his dad.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
Soon after, Eugen finds himself thinking about the time when he rescued her daughter, Apollo, from the Leviathan. Just then, his men enter the room and inform him that Leviathan and a swarm of monsters have been seen near the town. When Gran and the others arrive, they see a full-fledged war between the citizens and their deity, while Eugen begs them to stop. Just then, the Black Cake Knight appears and protects him from the attacks before disappearing again. Gran and the others soon join him, and Eugen explains that Leviathan has gone berserk on the city without any reason. Gran wants to help, but Eugen says they are no match for this overpowered Gyarados, and he should evacuate the city. However, Liria reveals that Leviathan had been using her own life force to purify the sea, but since he's on the verge of breakdown, he needs to feed on life to replenish his own. She explains that if they find a way to ease Leviathan's suffering, it will come back to its senses and stop harming the city, so Eugen agrees to help. He tells his men to take out all the monsters in the area except Leviathan. allowing Gran and the others to execute their own plan. When they find themselves surrounded, Mary and Carva unexpectedly arrive to their aid, helping them continue on their path. Nearby, a mage and a swordswoman, Yodarhut and Uil, notice the pollution in the water, and realizing that all the fish will die if the Leviathan falls, they decide to help too. Just then, the hero squad sees a pink-haired baddie named Narmia dealing with the monsters with expert swordplay, and once she sees the intent in Gran's eyes, she agrees to help him. They'd also spot a sharpshooter named Silva using her sniper to aid them as they continue forward. Mary and Carva soon find themselves with their back against the wall, but a Timu master Roshi named Soris appears and rescues them. The man then uses his insane Jimbro skills to take more of the monsters out, leaving the girls shocked. Meanwhile, Gran and the others once again get surrounded by monsters, and this time, Jessica, with her bazooka, helps them out. Even with her contribution, there seems to be no end to the monsters, so Rackom and Lo finally get on the same page to beat them. While Soris is boxing with the fish, a street fighter named Feather joins him and uses his lightning fist to impress him. Just when things look good for the heroes, the Leviathan uses the remaining monsters to create a tornado and cause destruction in the city. They assume Leviathan is commanding the monsters, but Gran realizes that something else in the flock is doing the dirty work. With no way to locate the commander, Vern asks Liria to summon Bahamut and fry everyone, but she refuses to let Leviathan burn in the process. Just then, they get attacked, but a saber wielder quickly deflects the attack. When they escape where she is, she introduces herself as Charlotta, captain of the Lumial Order of Holy Knights. Just then, a giant ball of monsters starts forming above the city, and a fire mage named Zida observes it from up there. She decides to stop it before it becomes too dangerous, and she is so strong that a single attack from her destroys the ball. All the monsters are separated. Eugen looks for the commander and spots one of them with glowing eyes. After he takes it down, Liria uses Yggdrasil's powers to confine the Leviathan, and it's all up to Gran to save him. Gran expertly dodges his attacks and stabs the primal crystal on its neck, which causes poisonous goo to slip out. It not only burns Gran but also Liria, but they both bear the pain and destroy the crystal, freeing Leviathan from the suffering. Once the dust settles, Eugen realizes that all those years ago, Leviathan was actually protecting her daughter when she went missing at sea, so he thanks him for it. He wishes Apollo would return home so he can tell her the truth. With that, Leviathan chooses to return to Liria's primal crystal, leaving her with another piece of the sky map. Just then, Black Ignite's doll, Orchid, takes some of its power from Liria, and Liria demands to know if she is the same as her. When Black Ignite says she will tell her in due time, Orchid addresses her by the name Apollo, revealing that she is Eugen's daughter. That night, while the town celebrates, Mary and Carva wave goodbye to Gran and hope to see him again. Lo asks Liria if she hopes to see anyone again too, and she says she wants to meet Orchid so she can learn a little more about herself. She admits she was terrified to find out about herself in the past, but thanks to all her friends, she has opened up to the idea. Just then, Eugen arrives after chugging a whole gallon of beer and declares Gran the hero who saved the day. He thanks everyone for their help, admitting he never expected a rookie crew to deal with such a huge mission. He then asks Gran if he is looking for new crew members, revealing that he is interested in joining them. He explains that he had been putting something important off for far too long and wants to deal with it while he can still walk straight. He begs them to let him join, and Gran happily welcomes him on board, saying his experience will be key for them. As they get together for a drink, Gran and Liria raise a toast to their friendship, and the next day, they receive a proper send-off from the citizens who are grateful for their contribution. With that, the brand cipher goes airborne again, and the whole crew is excited to experience what lies ahead. That brings us to the end of the video. Will Gran reunite with his father at the Astral Islands? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more anime recaps like these, subscribe to the channel and like the video.